Have you ever found yourself in a pinch and turned to the internet for a quick fix? Maybe you've seen a video suggesting you can sharpen a dull razor on a pair of jeans, or perhaps you've heard that a little bit of toothpaste can clear up a pimple overnight. In the vast, echoing chamber of the digital world, we're bombarded with an endless stream of so-called life hacks, clever little shortcuts promising to make our lives easier, more efficient, and more affordable. They spread like wildfire across social media, packaged in satisfyingly short videos and easily digestible listicles. They feel like secret knowledge passed down from one savvy netizen to another. The appeal is undeniable. Who wouldn't want a simple, often counterintuitive solution to a common problem? These hacks tap into our innate desire for ingenuity and control, making us feel like we've outsmarted the system. But here's a thought that might crawl under your skin. What if some of the most popular, most widely shared pieces of advice are not just wrong, but are secretly, insidiously dangerous? What if these clever tricks, these harmless tips passed around with the best of intentions, are actually ticking time bombs, waiting to cause harm in ways we never anticipated? The line between a brilliant shortcut and a terrible mistake is often thinner than we think, and tonight, we're going to walk that line, exploring the popular life hacks that could cost you far more than you bargained for. Let's start with the place we should feel safest, our own bodies. The internet is a breeding ground for DIY health advice, offering quick fixes for everything from minor irritations to serious injuries. Consider the age-old advice for treating a minor burn. You've accidentally touched a hot pan and a searing pain shoots up your arm. Someone, somewhere, maybe a grandparent or a popular online forum once, told you to wrap it in aluminum foil, shiny side in, to draw out the heat. It sounds almost scientific, doesn't it? A folk remedy passed down through generations. But in reality, this is one of the worst things you can do. A burn is a heat injury, and the first priority is to dissipate that heat as quickly as possible. Wrapping it in foil does the exact opposite. It traps the heat against your skin like a tiny personal oven, allowing the thermal energy to penetrate deeper and cause more extensive tissue damage. Furthermore, household aluminum foil is not sterile. Placing it directly onto compromised, burnt skin creates a perfect, sealed environment for bacteria to flourish, drastically increasing the risk of a nasty infection. The correct medically sound advice is agonizingly simple. Run the burn under cool, not ice, cold water for at least 10 to 20 minutes. It's not flashy, but it's safe. This same logic applies to another infamous bathroom cabinet remedy, dabbing toothpaste on a pimple. The reasoning seems sound enough. Most toothpaste contain drying agents like baking soda or alcohol and antibacterial ingredients that kill germs in your mouth. So, why wouldn't they work on your face? The problem is that toothpaste is formulated for enamel, the hardest substance in the human body, not for the delicate, sensitive skin of your face. The very ingredients that make it an effective cleanser for your teeth, like sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS, and fluoride, can be incredibly harsh irritants. They can cause chemical burns, excessive dryness, and post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation dark spots that linger long after the pimple is gone. You might dry out one spot, but you're essentially scorching the earth around it, leaving behind a bigger, more noticeable problem than the one you started with. You're trading a temporary blemish for potential long-term skin damage, all for the sake of a quick fix. But the flawed logic doesn't stop at our skin. It seeps into our kitchens, where we handle the very things we use to nourish ourselves. We've all been there. It's 5 p.m., you've just gotten home, and you realize the chicken you planned for dinner is still a solid block of ice in the freezer. In a moment of desperation, you might think, I'll just thaw it in some hot water. Heat thaws things faster, right? It's a tempting shortcut, but it's like rolling out a welcome mat for foodborne illness. Food safety experts refer to a temperature range between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, or 4 to 60 degrees Celsius, as the danger zone. In this range, bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli can double in number in as little as 20 minutes. When you submerge frozen meat in hot water, the outer layers heat up rapidly, entering the danger zone while the inside remains frozen solid. You have essentially created a perfect bacterial incubator on the surface of your food long before it's even thawed enough to cook. The same insidious, invisible danger lurks in another well-intentioned habit: refilling and reusing single-use plastic water bottles. It feels like the responsible, eco-friendly thing to do. But those bottles, typically made from a plastic known as PET, are explicitly designed for one-time use. With each reuse, tiny scratches and cracks form in the plastic, creating microscopic crevices that are impossible to clean properly. These become thriving colonies for bacteria from your hands and mouth. Even more unsettling is the chemical aspect. When exposed to heat like being left in a hot carrier simply through repeated use and washing, the plastic can begin to break down and leach chemicals into your water. One of these is antimony, a heavy metal, and others include phthalates, which are endocrine disruptors. While you're trying to stay hydrated and reduce waste, you may be unknowingly sipping on a cocktail of chemicals that have no business being in your body. It's a stark reminder that materials have limits, and reusable is not a universal quality. The kitchen isn't the only place where seemingly smart shortcuts can betray you. The danger escalates dramatically when these hacks venture into the realm of survival situations where a single bad decision can have irreversible consequences. Imagine you're lost in the woods. Panic is setting in, but then you remember a tidbit of wilderness lore. Moss only grows on the north side of trees. A wave of relief washes over you. You have a compass. But this celebrated piece of survival wisdom is dangerously, fundamentally false. Moss is a simple plant. It grows where conditions are favorable, which means cool, damp, and shady. In a dense forest, that could be on any side of a tree or all sides of it. Relying on this myth is like navigating with a broken compass. It gives you a confident direction that is entirely divorced from reality, potentially leading you deeper into the wilderness with every step you take. An even more cinematic and far more deadly myth is the idea of drinking water from a cactus to survive in the desert. We've seen it in countless movies. The desperate hero slices open a barrel cactus and joyfully quenches their thirst with the life-saving water inside. The truth is that most cactus fluid isn't pure water. It's a thick, often bitter liquid packed with acids and alkaloids that your body cannot process. Drinking it would lead to violent vomiting and diarrhea, catastrophically accelerating the very dehydration you're trying to prevent. It turns a desperate situation into a fatal one. The plant is protecting its precious water supply with chemical warfare, and the life hack of drinking it is an invitation to poison yourself when you are at your most vulnerable. It's a powerful lesson that nature doesn't always conform to our convenient narratives, and in a survival scenario, what you think you know can be the most dangerous thing of all. This false confidence is a killer, and it finds its most common form in the popular advice for self-defense, like the classic tip to hold your keys between your fingers to use as a weapon. It's an image of empowerment, but it's a tactical nightmare. The force of a punch isn't transferred through the tips of the keys, it's absorbed by the weak, unsupported structure of your fingers. The most likely outcome is that on impact, the keys will collapse backward, lacerating your palm and breaking your own fingers, incapacitating your hand while barely harming your assailant. In the one moment where you need every advantage, this hack ensures you injure yourself first. So what is the common thread that ties all of these dangerous hacks together? It's the seductive allure of a simple answer to a complex problem. Our brains are wired to conserve energy, to find the path of least resistance. A clever trick that bypasses the need for research, expertise, or patience feels like a victory. But reality is rarely so simple. Biology, chemistry, and physics don't care about our desire for convenience. Heat will always seek to dissipate, bacteria will always multiply in the right conditions, and the structural integrity of your own hand has its limits. These hacks persist not because they are effective, but because they tell a good story, a story where we are smarter than the experts, where a household item can solve a medical problem, where we can outwit nature itself. The ultimate takeaway isn't to live in fear of every piece of advice, but to cultivate a healthy, active skepticism. In an age where information and misinformation spreads in an instant, the most valuable life hack of all isn't a shortcut, but a habit of mind, the habit of pausing to ask, does this actually make sense? To question the source, to consider the underlying principles, and to understand that sometimes the boring, conventional wisdom is conventional for a very good reason. It's been tested by time and reality, and it has been proven to be safe. True cleverness isn't about finding a shortcut that puts you at risk, it's about having the wisdom to know when to follow the map. After all, what is the most dangerous life hack you've ever tried? And did you only realize the danger when it was already too late?